Let's take a look at a sales promotion email campaign for an intangible B2C offer that is a low ticket membership community. I've got some notes and all of the emails in this document. You can send these emails as broadcasts or put them in an autoresponder. I've done both. I actually prefer broadcast because it's manual and you have a little bit more control. Also, when you're sending the emails as broadcast, it allows you to resend to unopens. So for example, if you send a 10 email campaign, once a day, every day for 10 days, you can send the first send in the morning and the second send in the evening. For example, 8 a.m. and then 8 p.m. Or in this case, for this particular campaign, we were only sending 3 emails a week. And so it took us about, with the client's approvals and reviews and things like that, it took about a month to send all of the emails. So what I did here was I sent the emails on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then I resent those emails to unopens on, I think it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. If you send the emails as broadcast, just make sure that you exclude customers. So anybody who buys after getting the promo, they won't get the additional promotional emails. And if you're using an autoresponder, make sure that the goal is purchase, and as soon as somebody buys, they exit the automation. Also, remember to include a stop promo link, which is a link people can click to opt out of the promotional email campaign. I prefer to add it right at the top so people can't miss it, and there's zero friction to them opting out of this promotional campaign without having to unsubscribe from the email list entirely. And the reason I do that, because you can put the stop promo link at the bottom of the email in the postscript if you like, but I put it right at the top. It's the first thing that they see, because somebody who is not interested in purchasing my product, I want them to be able to stop receiving emails, promotional emails about that product with as little friction as possible. One, it keeps the deliverability high, and two, it reduces the chances of them complaining that we're sending spam. And that's the worst thing that could happen to you, especially because it's a silly, kind of fake spam complaint because they opted in to receive the emails and all they had to do if they didn't like it was unsubscribe. Even though the selling happens on a sales page, I like to, it's not a personal preference, it's something that you should do, is include a complete sales pitch in every single email. Tell them exactly what they're getting, tell them how much it costs. If you want to, sometimes you can omit the price until they get to checkout. But your sales pitch should be complete because these are not lead gen emails, these are sales emails. Also, depending on how strong the sales page of your client's product is, you may have to write longer emails that do a lot more persuading. So in this particular case, my client's sales page was weak, so I had to make sure that I said everything that I needed to say to persuade them to buy. And what I ended up doing was I sent them straight to checkout. In fact, there's a bunch of rules that I break in this campaign that I'll show you in a second. And that's because of the nature of the audience. And we were able to understand this, or I was able to understand this after sending the survey email, which we'll cover in a second. If you're going to put the emails in an autoresponder, add a 999-day wait at the end so that it delays them from exiting the autoresponder. So in case you want to add a few additional emails to the autoresponder, you can do that and make sure that everybody still gets those new emails. And also, this is a personal preference. I've always liked to use the HTML editor instead of the standard email editor. I don't have any data for this, but I've always felt like it gets better email deliverability. I don't know why. So let's take a look at the emails. But before we do that, let's take a look at the results of this promotion, because this one I had access to the email service provider from the beginning. So you can see the campaign started on the 27th of January and it ended on the 9th of March. So a little over a month that we sent these emails. The first 3 emails were a survey or a reactivation campaign. It's just a 9-word email. It was a pattern interrupt in their inbox and it got a ton of replies. I'll show you right here. This client had like a 50,000 person list, but we ended up emailing, how many was this? 23, 34, 48. We ended up emailing almost the entire list, right? So 50,000 person list, and they ended up with over 1,100 replies. You can see right here, 1,100 replies. Yeah. And this is super helpful because one, it gave me ideas for email content, and two, the I could see the nature of the audience, what kind of audience they were. In this case, they were like a green B2C audience. They're not used to receiving hard sales pitches. They're not even used to receiving a ton of emails. Sometimes the client only emails them once a week. And so I had to tailor my sales promotion to fit this audience. And then also I found out that the number one objection to people not purchasing is what they said was affordability. I can't afford it. But when we actually started sending the emails, it turned out different. And that's one, because what people say and what they do are two different things. And two, because I slightly altered the way I pitched the product, or the way I pitched the product, to account for this price objection. So then let's take a look at the other emails. So right here you can see these first three are the survey emails, and I made sure to segment the audience. So what I did was, first I sent it to the most engaged audience, and then to the next most engaged, and then the unengaged or slightly inactive audience. And here you can see that the contact age is over 30 days because I wanted to email slightly older subscribers who haven't been through, or who have already gone through the client's existing product promotional automation that he has set up already. There was zero sales pitch in here. There were no links in here. And I had the client reply to every single person who sent a response. And even though there were no links and no sales pitch, we ended up closing 7 units for this one email with no call to action, no sales pitch, generated 7 units and $647 of this low ticket offer. Now the funnel kit attribution or revenue tracking is a bit off. I don't know what the deal is, but we actually ended up closing way more that was reported inside funnel kit, but I'm just going by the funnel kit numbers because it's easy for me to show you trends. The second email we sent was a float promotion, which is basically an email telling them, yo, we're about to start a promotion. And in this email, I gave them the option to opt out of the promotion. About maybe 2,000 people, or maybe slightly less than that, ended up opting out of the promotion. And we also ended up getting a few sales because I dropped the checkout link as well, because I gave them that option. I gave them the option to opt out, to not receive the promotional emails, or to buy now and not receive the promotional emails. And so that email as well, even though it wasn't a sales pitch, it ended up netting 5 units and $600 in revenue. Actually more than that, $1,000 in revenue, this one email. 8 units total. And then from email 3 onwards, 3 to 11, actually it's 3 to 10 because we only sent 10 emails, we started sales promotion. And I was emailing the engaged audience, so non-customers who had engaged in the last 30 days and engaged in more than 30 days. And what you'll see throughout this promotion is we were able to essentially double the size of our engaged audience by first sending this survey reactivation email, and two, by also segmenting the engaged audience and unengaged audience and sending them the same email, because this is still 20,000 people in an unengaged segment. It's still a lot of people, and some of those people are going to open the email and get reactivated, and some of them might even buy, and that's what in the emails as well. And so you can see here the people who had engaged in the past 30 days went from 13,000 to 25,000, so almost double. And that made a huge difference in how many people were seeing the email, how many people were seeing the offer, and eventually how many people bought. The promo starts from email 3, and you can see a jump in sales. Whenever you do a promotion, right, you'll see a large number of sales coming in the first 1 to 3 days, and then a slight drop off, and then it picks up again right at the end when you add the urgency. And then again, second email, sales still high. Third email, you can see it starts to drop off. Fourth email, fifth email in the promotion starts to drop off more. And then you can see here, this was our best performing email, and that was the email where we turned on the urgency. And I was waiting waiting for an opportunity to send this email when we had just a few spots left at the particular introductory rate that we were offering, and that's why this email did so well. And then we actually sold out of the discounted spots, and before we sent the last email, and when we sent the last email, it still sold a few units at the increased price. So there were still buyers on the list. All in all, according to FunnelKit, we sold 83 units and did $11,593 in cash collected. But according to the client, we ended up selling closer to 250 units and did between $25,000 and $30,000. Now, I don't know why such a big discrepancy is there. It could be the fact that people might have been re-engaged via the emails and then come back into the funnel some other way that wasn't tracked by FunnelKit, or it could be that FunnelKit's attribution window is messed up. No idea why that happened, but they ended up closing 250 or adding 250 new members into their community, where the month before or on a typical month, they only enroll about 25 new members into the community and do about $5,000 of revenue. And some of this revenue is also from merch sales because they have a merch store. So not all of this is subscription revenue for the membership. And so we might have also inadvertently ended up selling a bunch of merch for this client. I'll tell you a few more details about the client. So it's an intangible offer in the self-improvement space. This is for people who are the website is aphantasia.com, and aphantasic people are people who don't have a mind's eye and can't visualize anything in their mind. And so this particular client, he was diagnosed as it was like the first official diagnosed case by the scientists of aphantasia, and he built a website around it. It's the #1 website on the internet for this particular condition and the community as well. So it's a B2B audience, and the low ticket membership, while we were selling the introductory offer, was $74.99 or a lifetime membership at $199. He had a really big email list, not really big, but a decent sized email list. The good thing was they were very engaged. And again, B2C, so they're not used to receiving hard sells. However, because they were engaged, even though the client was using FunnelKit, which I didn't have much experience using, they still got really good deliverability when we sent the emails. And we were emailing pretty hard as well. And you can see from the open rates that the deliverability is good as well. So, first email that got sent out, that we sent 73% open rate, which is huge for like this random list that they're probably all normies and not used to getting a lot of email marketing. And we were able to maintain that throughout the entire promotion. The engaged audience was hovering 70%. At the end, it was still hovering at 60%. And even the unengaged audience, the people who had engaged or for than 30 days out, it was still hovering at 40%, and in some cases 50% we were getting open rates. Hyper engaged audience, really well curated list, and I believe it's because I don't know, B2C audiences are slightly different. His audience is also slightly older, on the older side, and they tend to check their email a bit more, so that could be one factor as well. Let's take a look at the emails now. Like I said, first email is a 9-word email or a 1-sentence survey. We kept it very simple. Quick question. Quick question works also in email marketing, not just cold outreach lead generation. And I use it to great effect. And those of you who've seen me teach email marketing, that I also love this subject line. No subject, where you actually type it out. And also for the preview text, I like to use ZWNJ, which is code that creates a blank line in the preview text, which makes the email stand out in the inbox. So when you stack these pattern interrupts, no subject, empty preview text, and a 9-word email without any greeting or sign off, it creates an outsized response. So 1,100 replies out of a 50,000 per person email list, that's like a 2.5% response, or yeah, 2.5% response, or 2% response. So that's about standard. When you have an engaged list, you can expect about 2% of your audience to respond to a survey. If you have a hyper engaged audience, you might get 3%. If you have an okay engaged audience, you might get 1%. But in any case, the bigger your list, the better. And in this case, we were able to get 1,000 replies, and that was super helpful because they gave me some ideas for emails as well. So that was email 1. So this is the float. And like I mentioned, the float is an email that you send out before the promotion starts. It's like a hype email. Sometimes the 9-word and the float are combined together, so you'll send the 9-word as the float. But because we got so many responses from the survey, and I noticed that the audience is they're civilians and not used to receiving a lot of marketing communications, I wanted to lube them up before sticking it in. So this email was designed to do that, and also pre-sell them and handle objections as well in a non-confrontational way. Tom from Aphantasia Network, I like to send the from name like this because sometimes when you put the full name, people don't remember signing up for any of your emails. And also if you're not super famous or something like that, people might not know who you are. So I like to put the name and the website, and that I find gets a slightly better or improved open rate. So subject line, your chance to opt out of upcoming emails about our paid membership community. Now here you'll notice that I'm using the perfect subject line formula. It's a subject line that's optimized for mobile. So it's 40 characters or under, sometimes just barely slightly over. And I apply the same to the preview text as well. And the perfect subject line is benefit, specificity, curiosity, and mobile optimization. And what I do is, because you don't have as much space to write a long subject line, I often use the preview text to continue the subject line as the subject line that I started. So a little over a week ago, I sent you and other subscribers a one question survey. What's stopping you from joining the Aphantasia Network community? At last count, we had 967 responses. I personally replied to hundreds of them, and I intend to reply to every single one. If I haven't got to you yet, I will. So this line I put in here specifically because I saw a response in the Google Sheet that somebody calling out the fact that this was an automated email and Tom was probably not going to see his reply, and even if he did, he wouldn't reply. So I included this sentence in here, and also I'm pretty sure that this line also generated a bunch more responses to the survey, because the survey responses were still coming in as the promo was going, and I think even after the promotion ended. Now I get a fair few replies whenever I send out an email, and I love that about our subscribers, but seeing hundreds and hundreds of responses come in to one email was mind-blowing. My inbox is a mess. Again, this is passive social proof and credibility. I'm telling people that my subscribers love to hear from me and they're hyper engaged. So it's a signal for you to engage as well. But let's go to some of the results. So this was one thing that he was surprised by, because he saw so many responses come in where the subscriber was like, I didn't even know you had a product to sell. What is it? And this happens a lot with content creators or course creators or coaches who aren't experienced marketers, and they're not used to selling hard enough, because they'll assume that mentioning their product once a week is enough. And because they're seeing it over and over again, because they're inside their business, they don't realize that to the subscriber, they are the least important thing in the subscriber's life. And it is very likely that the people who have subscribed to your list have no idea who you are, have no idea what you do, and have no idea what you sell. And you have to keep on repeating your sales message over and over again to get them to pay attention. And here again, A lot of the language in here is very non-confrontational. It's very different to what I would write if I was selling a BizOp offer or if I was writing copy for somebody like Andrew Tate. And I took a lot of this from the onboarding interview that I had with the clients. He's a really soft-spoken, gentle guy, really nice guy. And I wanted to convey that sort of sense of emotion and care that he has for his audience and his community in the emails as well. Something like also just as many people are not interested in our paid community at all. If you're one of them, I want you to know that this is totally okay. This newsletter and the content on our website and social media channels will always be free. I created Aphantasia Network to be the most authoritative and accessible resource in the world about this subject. We charge for 1% of the value we create so that we can give away the other 99%. So this right here, this is a tactic I learned from Ramit Sethi. He does this a lot, where he positions the value of his paid products against the quantity and comprehensiveness of his free material. So he's always, listen, if you can't afford to buy my premium products, which are quite pricey, Ramit Sethi's his courses are premium, that is totally okay. You can access our free material, use it to get results, and then when you can afford it, come join our program. So that is like I always found that a really authentic, honest way of selling to people. And I basically swiped it here and copied it. And I think even the client loved this as well. And so here is where we tell them that a promotion is coming. That being said, over the next few days, I'll be sending you several promotional emails for our paid membership community. If you don't want to get these promotional emails, click this link. I'm giving them every opportunity to not get the sales promotion I'm about to ram down their throats. And I'm making it as frictionless as possible, right? Clicking that link will exclude you from the promotional emails, but you stay subscribed to our newsletter. This is something that copywriters will do a lot, is explaining the consequences of the actions. And also when closing the sale or attempting a close, we will not stop at, hey, click this link and buy the product. We will say, click this link. It'll take you to this page. Go and fill out your name, email address, phone number, credit card information, and click this blue button at the bottom that says pay now. Once you pay now, once your transaction is confirmed, you're going to go to an order confirmation page, and we'll send you an email with your product details. And we'll mention in excruciating detail during the close how things are about to go down, because the sale is a very fragile thing. And it's the second most intimate thing in the world for somebody to open up their wallet, pull out their credit card, and buy something for you. You know what the first most intimate thing is already. And that's something that I learned from Ramit Sethi as well. And so you need to be very careful about not losing the sale, having a last mile failure. So I gave them the option to opt out of the promotion, and also I gave them the option to buy the product and opt out of the promotion that way. And you'll notice that now there are 3 calls to action, which is a violation of the rule of 1. But I assumed because of the nature of the audience that it would be more appropriate to break some of these rules in order to be as non-confrontational as possible while selling to them. So I gave them every possible option to make a decision. So let's take a look at email 3. So now here is where the real promotion starts, the actual promotional emails. And this quote is taken right out of the feedback we got from one of our emails. And that's what gives you the idea. So I'll either get my ideas from the onboarding interview that I do with the customer or the client, that usually takes 90 minutes to 2 hours, or when we send out one of these survey emails, I'll get all the responses back and use those responses to come up with email content. And right here you can see the stop promo copy. This is a promo for the Aphantasia Network paid membership community. If you do not want to receive these emails, click here. You'll be excluded from the promo but remain subscribed to our newsletter. This is the email. It's talking about how you're not a victim. And this is something that the client also mentioned during the onboarding interview, and this was a perfect opportunity to go into that belief shifting thing. So it's a belief shifting email, right? So that too often the articles read like we are victims of some curse, or that society needs to take our difference more seriously than it does. So this is from like a boomer, one of those pull yourself up by your bootstraps, I'm not a victim type guys. But a lot of his audience are like that. We decided to address this objection this way. That's one of the replies I got to my email survey I sent out a few weeks ago, and I get where they're coming from because I don't believe I'm a victim either. If I did, I would have let aphantasia hold me back instead of becoming one of the world's leading authorities on the experience. I've been able to take advantage and make full use of my differences to not just survive, but thrive. And I repeat this motif a lot about thriving despite your disadvantage, or even not even looking at it as a disadvantage, but you're just having some sort of, I almost turned it into a superpower in one of the future emails, and you're going to see that in a second. And I built a aphantasia network to help others do the same. Here's a quote from one of our recent discussion. I see, humor intended, a clear advantage in having complete aphantasia, my superpower. See, this is also a common motif in society now, where your differences are turned into like a strength. So people will want to have people will want to be autistic, for example, because they think it makes them special. And so that is being communicated here. People with aphantasia have reported that they're less prone to distraction and can focus on tasks requiring attention to detail, to my better attributes, which is good. When you have this, I think it's a disadvantage, but there are some pros that come with it, and we'll talk about them in a future email as well. And so you can see these emails are much longer than your usual direct response, DIC, disrupt, intrigue, click emails, because I'm trying to walk them through as much as possible the shifts that they need to make in their thinking, in their beliefs, in order to get them to the point where they're ready to make an investment in this community. And also the emails are long because the pitch is long. So this entire thing right here is the pitch, and it's quite a long pitch, and it's a complete pitch. So aphantasia network is the most positive, high consciousness, high vibration community for aphans in the world. I talk about more about the community. I talk about exactly what they're getting in the community. This is something that we even wrote in a whole email about, is the quality of the members in the community. Yes, there are many free members available to you on Reddit, Facebook, Discord, and elsewhere. If you spend any time on those communities, and many of our subscribers have, you'll have noticed the quality of information and interaction is not always top-notch, to put it mildly. Whenever you get a chance to shit on Redditors, take that chance, take that option. And here we call back to this with the benefit: bad actors are removed. When I say we're the most positive, high consciousness, high vibration community for aphans in the world, I mean it. We have a zero tolerance policy towards jerks and a-holes. And here we have 2 calls to action. Because of the price sensitivity, I made sure to include both options. So the lifetime membership, which is the best deal, obviously. And when I included the annual membership, I also explained to them how it works out on a monthly basis, because they're paying for the entire year. But I wanted to contextualize the price against something they know. So I would mention it's less than the price of your Netflix subscription, or less than the price of your Starbucks. So people understand, because they'll see $79 a year or $74.99 a year, and immediately then their mind goes to, oh, that's almost $100. That's a lot of money. But they don't realize that it is actually cheaper than stuff that they already pay for. Netflix, Starbucks, fucking Uber Eats, that kind of thing. And this is one thing that I like to do. I like to include social proof throughout the sales promotion and throughout my sales pages, and not just wait for one particular email to do the social proof. So you'll find in a lot of these emails in this particular sales promotion, there are testimonials in the PS of nearly every email. And also, I gave them the option to go read the sales page before buying. So I've given them the link to the lifetime membership checkout page. I've given them the link to the annual membership checkout page. And I've also given them the link for the sales page so that they can go read more about the product before making a decision. And that absolutely violates the rule of 1. But in this case, it made sense because of what I understood about the audience and the way that this client runs his business. So here's me leaning into the superpower angle. Again, you can see opt-out link right at the top. And this is a quote from the onboarding interview, which is something that I said to the client. And I'll do this a lot, where I'll rephrase something that I say to the clients and use it in their own marketing communications, where I'll be like, my marketing team said, and that's what you'll see here. And these are almost, I've edited, some of my words, but this is basically exactly what I told him personally when I was talking to him during the onboarding interview about how it is to live life as an aphantasic. This is what I said to him. I said, I do a lot of work in my head. Sometimes it'll be weeks of me looking like I'm not doing anything. Then I sit down and the finished product all comes flowing out. Now that might seem cool at first, but it means I'm not an organized person and I tend to forget a lot. Listening to you describe the tools and methods you use to thrive as an aphant, I'm thinking this could be like a superpower. Since you can't visualize, you're forced to document, take notes, be organized, do like mind maps and stuff. I can see how that might make you much more productive than the average person. And so these are my words. I've edited it to make it seem to paint the client and aphants, the audience, in the best light possible. And so that's essentially what copywriting is. It's like telling the truth, but in the most epic way possible. I've said that before, or I also said it like, it's like copywriting is telling the truth, but 10 times more gangster. So how can you say what you want to say in the best way possible? And Joshua Lysak has that line as well, the best way to say it. That's essentially what copywriting is. So here's me calling back. And this is also something that the clients are impressed by, because they see the words that they used in a conversation with me repeated back at them in their own marketing communications and in their own sales material. And they're like, wow, this guy gets me. This guy, he understands my voice. But really, it's just words that they've said to me that I'm saying back to them. So that's a real conversation I had with one of my marketing team members. We were in a meeting and he was interviewing me and he just went on this stream of consciousness monologue. That's exactly what happened. He's a creative, and based on what he told me, it seems like he's got a vivid imagination and is capable of high fidelity visualization. But by his own admission, that comes with its own drawbacks. And then I used this opportunity to pull in a testimonial from one of their members. As an artist with aphantasia, I hear other artists saying that they can never make the drawing on paper as good as the one they imagine in their heads, and that it discourages them. I feel very lucky that I don't have that at all, which is cool. And then more benefits or superpowers of being aphantasic. So we're leaning into this aphantasia as a superpower thing. And then we're going to lean into it further. So this is something that I heard the client say during the onboarding interview, where they're not able to, so if aphantasics, they don't have a mind's eye, or they're not able to visualize positive things, and that also applies to negative things. So in aphantasic, they don't have PTSD, for example, because they don't have those memories the way that people with PTSD do. This is us leaning into that disadvantage and turning it into an advantage. On that last point, imagine how many people are held back by imagining hypotheticals of what could go wrong. Or to take it to an extreme, imagine an assault victim or combat veteran who doesn't get flashbacks of their trauma. In such cases, aphants are unencumbered and unburdened by visualization. Ben Settle talks about this. How do you make the skeleton dance? So how do you take the negative and make it into a positive, right? That's what we're doing here. And now we go back into the pitch. Not to be glib, if you look at it the right way, aphantasia can be a superpower. These types of mindset shifts are common in our paid membership community. Somebody will throw out an offhand comment or observation that seems innocuous to them, but is a mind blown moment to others. And you get this effect for a few reasons. Now, so I go into the pitch. When I'm writing the pitch, I don't have an individual pitch for every single email. I'll write 2 or 3, sometimes even 4 pitches, and then I'll rotate between them so that I don't have to write this last part of the email from scratch, because it's a lot of words and it can get tedious. So you'll find this pitch repeated in other places. And again, it's a complete pitch. I'm telling them exactly what they're getting. I'm telling them how they can sign up. And I'm also giving them access to both options for purchasing the product. And then you can see that I'm also including testimonials and social proof, like I did in the last email. And then this read more, this last line here, takes them to the sales page. So if they want to, if they want more information or they want to see more testimonials, they can do that before they decide to buy it. So here's where, whenever you have a subreddit for your niche or your industry or whatever, that's always one of the best places to go to for customer research or voice of customer, because Reddit is a cross-section of the average person that's going to be your customer, especially when you're in a B2C market. And you'll find posts that, several posts, you can probably write an entire month's worth of emails just scrolling through Reddit for one day, a couple of hours of one day. And here what we're doing is, because there are so many other communities for AFANs on Reddit, on Discords, there's Facebook groups as well, I'm sure there's communities on other places as well, we want to negate the other options or the other solutions so that we can promote our solution instead. And so that's what this email is about. This question was, I think it's the title of a Reddit post that I took it from. So I scrolled the R Aphantasia subreddit because I like to keep my finger on the pulse. A topic that comes up often is the use of psychedelics. And this topic also jumped out at me because it's something that the client mentioned during the onboarding call as well. So it was relevant in that way as well. A topic that comes up often is the use of psychedelics and whether or not they can help AFANs visualize. So here I copy-pasted several of the comments from Reddit, just verbatim, directly. And then I go into the argument. They say that copywriting or sales is like purely emotional, but I find that the way that I buy and the way that I sell tends to be always constructing some sort of logical argument tends to work better for me. And so everything I write, I'm always trying to construct some sort of sales argument. And maybe there's emotion in that, there are elements of emotion in that, but I always find that it works better for me to sell in a logical way. Which is it, do they work or don't they? Now we could argue that each person's experience with hallucinogens is individual and unique, and that we can't really say for sure whether they will work or not until we try them. But I'm not going to recommend that you go take a heroic dose of whatever. So a heroic dose is specific terminology or jargon that you can use to help the reader identify that this person knows what they're talking about. So there's the jargon that's useless that you want to take out and make your copy sound as simple and straightforward and plain English as possible. And there's also the jargon that you want to introduce strategically that proves to the audience that you are the real deal. We go on to say that it's not safe, number one, and two, actually it doesn't work. Two, my own experience is that psychedelics do not help you visualize. They don't work. So be careful with whose advice you take on the internet. And all of that is a segue to make my main sales point, which is that everybody on Reddit is like anonymous and you have no idea who they are, whether they're real people or whether they're just BSing you. And to compare users on Reddit versus the type of people who are in the Aphantasia Network paid membership community. Now, these people could be all PhDs and exactly the same caliber as these people, but the very nature of Reddit makes it comical and very easy to shit on, basically. So you just got to pull a few Reddit usernames because they're all anonymous, so they all have handles, right? Find the funniest usernames that you can and then use them here. Flower Sweaty, Cabbages, username blah, Crumpets and tea, yippee, right? Versus Dr. Paolo, Dr. Ilona, Brian Levine, Dr. Adam Zaman. So it's no comparison, right? So this is a technique in sales where you demonstrate you versus the competitor. You show, don't tell, and that I think is very powerful. I've actually used this section of copy in other places as well for other clients. Can you see the difference? I don't even have to say. I didn't say that these people they're wrong or they shouldn't be listened to. And I didn't say that these people are experts and super smart and they should be listened to. First of all, because scientists have very little credibility these days in pop culture, especially after all of the pandemic nonsense. And also, I want the reader to draw the conclusion themselves. Can you see the difference? We go to great lengths to curate information of the highest quality for our members, from the researchers we invite to present to our members, to the live data reports and comprehensive research summaries we put together. So all of this now is the pitch. If you're serious about understanding your aphantasia experience and you care about getting accurate information, our paid membership community is the best place for you to be. No more trying to piece together information from random sources all across the internet. So all of this, again, logical argument, constructing a logical argument. And again, you can see here, it's like the pitch is copy-pasted from a previous email with some minor changes in wording and layout. I also varied the way that I presented the price juxtaposition. So sometimes I said 25% off, you save 25, or this works out to $6.25 per month, less than the price of your morning coffee. So sometimes it's less than the price of Netflix, sometimes it's less than the price of your Starbucks, or less than the price of your morning coffee, or less than the price of lunch. And also in every email I kept mentioning that, okay, there are limited spots only, and I kept a running count of how many spots are left. I think this might have been the only email where I didn't include a testimonial. Maybe there's a couple of others, but this one links to the sales page. When you're writing these promotional emails, they don't all have to be hardcore, big idea type long form sales emails. You can write a sales email for as simple as 15% discount that they get at the merch store. So this was a bonus that, again, the client, because he's not experienced as marketing, he almost never mentioned. It was something that they mentioned internally inside the community, but it's never advertised as a bonus on the sales page. So I use that to write an email. All you're doing is looking for any excuse to put your pitch in front of the prospect. So if I have to write an email about a 15% discount on the merch store, which is tangential and very indirectly related to the actual offer that we're selling, because it's like t-shirts and coffee cups and stuff like that, it's still an easy way to get the pitch in front of the prospect. So I've given our paid community this bonus inside the members area, but I haven't advertised it until now. When you join Aphantasia Network's paid membership community, you get a 15% discount on all the merch in our online store for as long as you remain a member. Pretty cool. And so all we're doing is talking about the stuff in the store. This could very easily be like an e-commerce email. And because it's just merch, and I'm still trying to write it in the direct response way, I'm talking about the benefits of actually buying this merch. Our swag is a conversation starter, right? Giving them a reason why to buy, even if it's like a frivolous impulse purchase. And then to handle the objection, 15%, so what? Why should I get a membership just to get 15% off of your store? Again, you contextualize the benefit against something that they understand. Because 15% is like an abstract number. What do they know that is close to it in their real life that they've experienced? And look, I get it. 15% isn't a whole lot. It'll take a few bucks off of your order. But imagine what you could do with the savings. You could pay for parking. You could tip your barista. You could reward your child for doing their chores. But the real benefit is the fact that you'll be getting a deal that others don't get. And everyone loves a deal. So I'm appealing to their sense of trying to get one over on the other guy. And then here, so how can you claim your 15% off coupon? Simple. Whenever you're ready, join our community. And then we go into the pitch. So you can see the pitches are repeated. And we've got more testimonials here, and then another link to the sales page. So here's a bonus that wasn't advertised, and that's the refund guarantee. So try community risk-free. If you're on the fence about joining, I've got good news. This has been an ad hoc bonus with our members for a while now, but I'm going to make it official. I'm offering you a 30-day love it or leave it guarantee. And these two emails, the guarantee email and the 15% discount email, they got the lowest sales or the lowest number of new members enrolled in the community, but they still got some members enrolled. And it's important to mention these things, even though it's not going to perform as well as some of the other emails that you write, the ones with the bigger ideas. But it's important because there might be people who are on the fence that this converts them, whereas some kind of high-minded thing about improve your life or something like that wouldn't convert them. Join Aphantasia Network today, and if you're not delighted by the folks and resources that we have inside, for whatever reason, you simply email me within 30 days for a full and prompt refund, no questions asked. This is a really long way to say I'm giving you a 30-day money-back guarantee. But again, you want to say it in the best way possible. And you want to show them that this guarantee is actually frictionless, and they're actually going to get their money back if they don't like it, right? I'm making this guarantee as frictionless as possible because I'm convinced that once you take a look inside, you won't want to leave. And anytime you do some sort of risk reversal, people are going to be skeptical. People are always skeptical in general, but even when you're making a guarantee, a money-back guarantee, they're going to be like, okay, what's the catch? And so that's an opportunity for you to address that thought in their mind when they have it with just a very simple line of copy. And then again, the pitch, copy pasted from a previous email. Nothing fancy here. It just saves you some time. What if you were aphantasic 25 years ago? So the number one benefit of this membership product or this low ticket membership is the idea of community. So in whatever way I could, I was trying to hammer this idea of community home. That's really because it's an intangible offer. That's the only real benefit that I could tell them. I couldn't tell them you're going to make money or get laid or lose weight or something like that, right? So I had to try to figure out something aspirational that I could promise them, and that turned out to be community. Sometimes I think about how different my aphantasic experience would have been if I had found out 25 or even 15 years ago. 15 years ago, even though the internet was a thing, social media as we use it today didn't exist. Since we're 3 to 4% of the population, I figured if I figured out I was aphantasic 15 years ago, I would have felt horribly isolated. And that is something that I believe I heard the client mention during the onboarding call, where if you live in a large city, because the aphantasic 3 to 4% of the population, you might not know that what you have is something that other people have as well, and you might not meet another aphantasic your entire life. So this community helps them find the others like them, and that I think is a strong benefit and a strong promise. Today, though, you can find other aphants by searching on TikTok or YouTube. There are subreddits and Facebook groups and Discords. Aphantasia.com exists. Today, you can find your tribe. We're all over the world. We're in every professional field, creative and technical. When we're not taking an annoying number of photos and videos to document our lives, we're doing guided meditations or taking ayahuasca and DMT hoping to visualize. Doesn't work, LOL. So this is another line. It's almost like a throwaway line, but it's very deliberate. It's showing the reader that you're one of them. And we're finally meeting each other online and in person. In your country, in your city, you can find the others like you. So this is the main benefit that we're trying to push. You can find the others like you. Because one of the features of the Aphantasia Network community is that they have in-person meetups. And when you're in a larger online group, it's much easier for you to find other aphantasics in Chicago, for example, or probably even in Dubai if they're Aphantasia Network members in Dubai. And you won't feel alone, so that's important, the idea of belonging. You won't feel like you're disadvantaged, right? So if you found out suddenly that you are aphantasic and you don't have a mind's eye and you can't visualize, and you feel lonely because everybody else around you is able to visualize, it helps to know that there are so many people out there just like you. Many of us are using our differences to thrive, and so will you. I believe in you because I've seen it happen with myself and so many others. So whenever you're ready, come join the worldwide community of aphantasics achieving our goals, making our dreams reality, and having the time of our lives. So it's with an intangible offer, it is really hard to sell. You have to use finesse when you're selling an intangible offer. And I think that takes a bit more skill and a bit more experience than if you're selling something easier, like a B2B get clients offer. And you can see that the pitch is the same. So here's the urgency email. I actually delayed sending this email until there were like less than 20 spots left, just so that I could turn the urgency up as high as I could. Only 16 founding member spots left. Price goes up when they're filled. And I don't like to use "this is your last chance" and things like that, because I don't like telling white lies in my copy. So when I say something like that, I phrase it in a way where it wouldn't be inauthentic. Is this your last chance to join Aphantasia network at our introductory founding member rate? It depends on how fast you act, because there are only 16 spots left. I predicted we'd sell out in February, but I was wrong. Looks like we'll sell out in the first week of March. Once these spots are filled, the price goes up. And then all I have to do is just make the pitch. And this was our best performing email. It sold the most number of memberships, and it did the most revenue. And then the one final email. This was after the price increased. So this was good on the client. He actually made sure that the price increased as soon as people bought. I think he wasn't happy about dropping the revenue, because I think his lifetime membership was priced at $497. I made him drop the price at $290 to $199, so that it would be a more attractive offer. For example, because what you want to do is you want to collect as much as you can of the revenue up front. And this was an email I wrote last minute. I wanted to see how we did, and then all it was is trying to find some other excuse to pitch, because now I don't have the discount, and I don't have the founding member spots, and I don't have the urgency. I thought it'd take another week to sell our remaining founding member spots. I was wrong again. After my last email, we sold out in hours, but it doesn't matter that we're out of founding member spots. Again, looking for an excuse to make the pitch. Even at the regular rate, Aphantasia network is epic value for money. I think this might have been the best email of the bunch, because even though I didn't have all of the advantages of the discount and the urgency, I was still able to sell some units. Plus, our best value offer is still available. More details below. Anyway, that's just some housekeeping. It's not the topic of today's email. Today, I want to talk to you about knowledge versus wisdom. On its own, knowing things isn't worth much. Only when knowledge is applied does it become valuable. Experience is what we're after, because knowledge plus experience equals wisdom. You'll find often that when you do a lot of copywriting, that a lot of the analogies and metaphors and concepts that you use to sell things, they translate to a bunch of different offers. I think I've used this knowledge plus experience equals wisdom for more than 10 different clients now. There's always a way to shoehorn this idea in an email or a Facebook ad or something somewhere. And so what are we doing? We're using the experience aspect and the aspect of the community to nullify or negate the other solutions and present our solution as the best one. Wisdom is the ability to, through experience, put knowledge in context. Knowledge about Aphantasia is all over the internet for free. If the information is available online for free, why do I have to pay to join your membership community? YouTube, Facebook, Reddit, TikTok, Instagram, Discord, aphantasianetwork.com. What you need is a high-quality community of other Aphants to share their wisdom, so you can put what you learn about your Aphantasia experience in the right context. We've made all the mistakes so you don't have to. So this is another concept that you'll find in a lot of marketing and sales material. That's how you hack the 10,000 hour rule. Even though it's been debunked, it's still a useful idea. You do it by leveraging other people's 10,000 hours. So whenever you're ready, I invite you to join our paid community and take advantage of our experience, and then we go back into the pitch. So that is our 10 email sales promotion for a low ticket B2C intangible